Hello and welcome back to my Java tutorial series. You can see again our finished product from the last episode, which was two parts about the concepts of object-oriented programming. There's a lot of stuff, so let's get into this episode, which is episode 7. We're going to mainly be doing some cleanup from the last couple episodes, which, not to say cleanup, but get finish off some content that we missed. I'm gonna go a small section about nested classes, since there are a lot about nested classes, but you don't use nested classes that much. So we're just gonna do just a quick intro to them, and then we're going to go over more about Javadoc, commenting, and if we have enough time, I'll definitely try to get to Enums, which stand for enumeration, which I love enumerations. But again, we'll get to that. No, forgot. Okay. Again, just like always, setting up our main method. Okay, first let's get into nested classes. Now, you see, class is obviously a keyword, and this is a class. And you can only have one big class for a file. Like, you can't go outside of the class and make a public class. Well, you can't make a class at all outside. So I went over here and tried to make a class that's not main. It's not going to work. Must be defined within its own file. But if we declare a class within this class, let's say I don't know. I don't think you can make this public, but okay. You can make this public, private, or protected. It means a couple different things from what it normally is in normal methods. Like right now, since this is a nested class, public really means package private, which means if we made it's similar to the actual protected. And protected function same, and private means that. But there's a difference between those public classes and, well, yeah, we'll just do another public one, but this time we'll make this class static. So now we have two extra classes. Now this class, the one that isn't static, this can access any variable inside our thing. So let's make it integer int1, public int, public static int2. Now we'll just give each of these things like public void init, which is what you basically always do for when you're initializing a program. But since we're obviously not really initializing anything, this is just for testing and showing you what to do. Let's see, int1 equals 0. That works, I think. Int2 equals 1. Okay. Oh, silly me. Now, when a class is static, you can't access non-static, and yeah, when a class is static, you can't access non-static variables within this class. But when it is not static, you can access any variables part of its what's it called? Its outer class. Nested classes are also called inner classes. So public class not main is an inner class, but static nested classes are just called static nested classes. They're not inner classes, and they can't access any non-static thing within them. The difference is, if we were to make a new class and call it something that has absolutely no meaning, but if we were to add this and give it its own completely useless initialization method, we could access main dot kinda main, and we can do let's give kinda main a variable, integer kinda int. So we can do kinda main dot, oh wait, it has to be static, because even though this that is not where I should be putting static. So now we can access main.kindofmain.kindofint equals 0. But if we try to access main.notmain, we can't access, and we try to go, let's give this its own int. See, it can't declare static variables because, you know, this class isn't static, so it can't declare static variables, which means we can't access anything from not main by just calling not main. What we could do is do a public, maybe static. Let's not do static. Public main dot not main equals new main dot not main. That's a lot of mains, but then closing. Oh, okay. So again, since this is not static, that means we have to beforehand make a public main equals new main. And of course a semicolon. Well, I think we should probably put this in here. Oh yeah. Main, public main. Well, either way. Yeah. But what we can do, again, we can make a public main dot kind of main, because kind of main is static, equals new main dot kind of main. Because it's not main, it's kind of main. But you see this really, when you get into nested inner classes and static nested classes, it really helps to know the difference between static and not static, and objects and such. But basically, you don't use nested class that much. The basic, when you use like a public class that is an inner class that's not static, is when you're only going to use it within this class and not anywhere else. And then when you make a static class, it's basically, if they're going to be really small and not do much, but you still want to make, like if you're programming a game and making just very entities that are basically stupid, like items, like if you're making an item on the ground, and it's a very, you know, primitive game, like a 2D platformer, and it's like a power-up that you pick up, you'd have like a public class power-up as your main file, then you have like public static class mushroom, public static class 1-up, and public static class Fireflower or something else. I'm obviously, you know, that's just me making up power-ups that obviously didn't come from anything that's trademarked. But you get the point. So that's nested classes. Now, just so we can have more room, we're going to make an enum and go over comments in the enum. Now, like I said before, enum stands for enumeration, and again, instead of class, this is an enum. So enums are very special and very nice. They're like classes, except they have a predetermined set of objects that are always final or constant. And basically, we can do a public test enum, and the variables each of these constant shits are gonna have. So we can do test enum. It'll hold a string, which I'll call value, and an integer, which we'll call value. I meant to make this one key. What do you want? Oh yeah, no modifier. Forgot about that. And what are you complaining about? We want a key and a token. I mean a key and a value. String. What am I getting wrong this time? 1 second, let me just figure, like, seriously. Okay, yeah, this should be working. Should have a string and an integer. Let's do private string key and a private integer value. And what we'll say, see, yeah, oh yeah, because right here at the beginning, this is where you're gonna declare all your enum constants, and there's not allowed to be anything else before them. And since we haven't declared them yet, there's gonna be some bad things. So we'll just say this dot key equals key, and this dot value equals value. Okay. Now here's where to declare it. Now there's a certain format that you will use. We'll just say now they're all caps, like you declare final thing, since all of these are final. So we'll do a string and an int for now. And normally you would end it with a semicolon, but normally enums have a lot of values, so you separate them by commas, and sometimes you put them on different lines. Normally I do that all the time. So we'll just like make 3 things. And if I can spell correctly, this will go a lot faster. And semicolon when you're done with your list of enum constants. So there's an enum, and what we do with this is that there's an array of, you know how when you set up a class, in its constructor, you can have anything, and you can make new instances of those class and objects. But with an enum, you can't make new an object of an enum. This enum is here, and all it does is contain these values. You can also put methods like public integer get key, and what we're gonna do is return this dot key. Oh, well, I should probably make this a string because I kind of forgot something. And normally when I do gets and sets, I just keep them on one line since they don't really contain that much. So I'm just going to make 3 more of these. This is going to be get value. This is going to be set key. Well, actually, you can't even set these. Never mind. I forgot. You can't change the values because they're all constant. So return this dot value and change this to an int. So there we go, and basic enumeration. Now if we go back into main, we can do system.out.println. We restore test enum dot any of these values. So we'll do entry 3 dot get value. So since entry 3 has a value of 2, since this is value, it should print out 2. Easy enough. There, print it out 2. So basically the main reason you use enumerations or enums is if you need a lot of constants to do different things. I mean, like I told you why you would use final variables, but basically if you wanted a large amount of final variables that had the same that had to hold multiple values, and you wanted to use it throughout your application or program in several different classes, and you would definitely use an enumeration. And you wanted to add, a whole bunch of different methods as well, as opposed to normal final variables. So then, now that we're done with that, we can get into commenting. Now, you saw me do a lot of comments before. Like, first of all, there's a single line comment, which is the double /, and these just cover single lines. If you try to do anything beyond that, like int1 equals 0, that's not out of bounds. Int1, okay, it needs to be static, so we'll just do int2. But if we typed anything in here, such as int3 equals something stupid, it doesn't even matter, int3 isn't declared. This is a comment. That means the compiler completely ignores anything commented in the sole source of comments. are to make code more readable. Now, single line comments are obviously arduous if you wanted to get several lines. So what happened, you would use a multi-line comment, which is like this. We can remove the single line comments, and you can see that basically you do a forward slash, then an asterisk to start the multi-line, and an asterisk, then a forward slash to end the multi-line. So anything including these and between these are also comments. So if we did this, it's not going to print out anything because we don't have anything for it to print out. Now the last, and probably the most useful, is the Javadoc. You do slash double asterisk space, it'll automatically create for you. Normally you put this in front of a class, or, yeah, you can put it in front of a class, and you can put it in front of methods, or you can put it in front of variables. And basically, we'll just create something here. Okay, so yeah, there it is, and it shows you the param args, array of strings for parameter input. So now we have it for just this method. So if we hover over main, it'll give us main method, main's method, main's main method for doing stuff on this tutorial series, and then it gives args, which is the parameter, which we identified by the annotation param. An annotation is stuff with an @ sign in front of it, and we'll have a separate episode for @ annotations and stuff. You saw it before with @ override, but the array of strings, the array of strings for parameter input. Also, this also supports HTML. So I believe if we put code, my HTML is a bit rustic, but I'm sure we can get along. Then we can do code encode. Does the slash go before? Yes, it does. Okay, so now if we look at main, you can see it says hello world, which is in code format. Let's do, I think we can do \n. No, we cannot. Yeah, I forget the HTML tag for a new line. But basically, you can use a whole bunch of different HTML stuff for this, and it'll help. You can look up a whole bunch of stuff you can do in Javadoc, HTML, and other stuff when you look at the Java source code. So that just helps. So we put this, so there. So now if we go, let's say, we go to, yeah, whatever. So if we go to over here where we set int2, hover over it, a really stupid variable for use only for its static modifier. So whenever we hover over it, it gives a basic use. Basically, this is for you to explain to yourself or other coders who would look at your source code what the hell's going on. Like if we hovered over, if we uncommented this, and I want to comment that because int3 isn't declared, but if we hover over system, this is the system stuff, and this is the system stuff, and you know, the people who actually develop Java source code, such as Oracle or the previous Sun Microsystems, they put Javadoc, and you know, the system class contains several useful class fields and methods. It cannot be instantiated, so you can't make like a new system, like system equals new system. You can't do that. So yeah, or you can read that. It was since JDK or Java Development Kit 1.0, and the author is unscribed. You see, in author, this class, all it says is author Scott Fasoni, since we don't have anything. The main class for episode 7. So now if we hover over main, the main class for episode 7, author Scott Fasoni, which happens to be my name, but that doesn't matter. So I think if we go into not nested and hover over main, hey, this is the main class for episode 7. Awesome. Go us. So that's commenting, Ina. Okay. I think we got to clean up a lot of stuff. The next episode will be about errors, exceptions, and runtime exceptions, since we do need to go over that, since those can be really bad for your programming. So I will see you next time. and good luck in life.